If you're watching this, there's a very good chance you're planning a trip to Japan, and if so, this video contains all the latest Japan travel updates you need to know before your upcoming trip to the land of the rising sun. Some of these updates have been put into place, with the others set to be implemented within 2025. This video is, by the way, meant to be an update to my previous First Timer's Guide to Japan, which is, by the way, the video that I would recommend you watch first, especially if you're headed to Japan for the first time. I'm gonna try to link that video here and also in my description box in case you want to do that first. I will then link this video at the end of that video so that you can then head on over here to watch the updates. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Regular or previous travelers to Japan will probably remember this cube, which is the reason why Japan is introducing a new pre-clearance system in 2025. This forms part of their overall efforts to streamline the entry process for tourists, which are, by the way, set to hit an all-time record high in 2025. Visitors will basically be able to undergo pre-clearance, the process of which includes document verification, fingerprinting, and facial photograph verification, all whilst waiting for their flights to depart for Japan. Once the pre-clearance is done, visitors simply need to head to the kiosk machines, which look like this, that are currently already located at the Narita and Kansai international airports. There are also currently plans to link this to the Visit Japan web. The Visit Japan web, just real quick for those who don't know, is a site where you basically pre-register your immigrations and customs information, after of which you will get a QR code. The intention of that is to simplify your entry into Japan, as once that is done, all you need to enter Japan is the QR code and your passport. This pre-clearance procedure, as of the writing of this video, which is January 2025, is only open to visitors from Taiwan. However, the Japanese government has announced that they plan to expand this to more eligible countries based on the results of this pilot operation. And therefore, I would recommend checking closer to your travel date to see if your country is now eligible for the pre-departure clearance process, as it's going to save you so much time when entering Japan. Speaking of things that you're going to want to check closer to your travel date, Japan is also preparing to implement an electronic travel authorization system, which is similar to the US ESTA, to simplify the entry process for visa-exempt travelers, which at the writing of this video includes the following 71 countries. Don't worry, I've also placed the 71 countries in my description box for your ease of reference. Much like the US counterpart, the application process will involve providing personal information, your purpose of visit, travel details, and duration. And the ETA will need to be approved prior to your arrival. But you're going to want to pay attention to this one if you plan to do a lot of shopping during your Japan trip. Japan is going to be introducing a new tax refund process. This is set to take effect in November 2026, and this is how it's going to be different from the current refund process. Currently, your tax is immediately deducted at point of purchase. However, with the new system, you will now be required to pay the total cost of your purchase. You will then keep your receipts for all eligible purchases and get your refund when you're departing from Japan at the airports. Whilst this means that you will need to get to the airport earlier on your day of departure, this new process does introduce some new benefits. Namely, the new system will abolish packaging requirements, goods classifications, and most importantly, the minimum or maximum spend. You see, you would have needed to previously have spent a minimum of 5,000 yen and also only be able to claim tax up to an amount of 500,000 yen to be eligible for tax refunds. But under this new system, those limits will be abolished. This next section contains an important update on the Japan IC cards, which are, by the way, cards that you're going to need to ride all forms of public transportation in Japan. Like, for example, if you're heading to Tokyo, you're probably researching on how you can get your hands on a SUICA or Pasmo IC card. By the way, if that is one of your concerns, I have previously done a video on 5 SUICA or Pasmo IC card alternatives that you may wish to watch as well. I'm again going to link that video in my description box and also somewhere here. Before then considering this to be your 6th SUICA or Pasmo alternative, the JR Ace is introducing a Welcome SUICA mobile app, which is expected to be released in spring 2025, aka around March or the peak cherry blossom season. This digital version of the Welcome Welcome SUICA will allow you to obtain and charge up your Welcome SUICA card prior to your arrival in Japan. There are several key benefits of the app. One is that you don't need a physical card like this, and you also don't have to line up to buy one when arriving in Japan. And also, you can purchase this using your Apple Pay instead of cash. The card is also active for 180 days upon activation, and you can not only use it on all forms of public transportation, but also use it to make payments wherever a Japan IC card is accepted as a payment method. However, at the writing of this video, the Welcome SUICA app is only available on Apple devices, even though they have announced plans to expand it to be available on Android devices as well, which I know, especially if you've already watched my SUICA Pasmo alternatives. What's the big difference, Steve? What's the big deal? I mean, isn't it just the same as activating a SUICA or Pasmo in my Apple Wallet? Well, if you have an Apple device, it may still be worthwhile considering the Welcome SUICA app if you plan on taking Shinkansens, aka bullet trains that will take you into cities in Japan. You see, unlike the digital SUICA or Pasmo in the Apple Wallet, you can actually link your Shinkansen/bullet train ticket to your Welcome SUICA card within the app. Now, what does this mean? This means that instead of having to line up to purchase or collect your Shinkansen ticket, you can actually use your Welcome SUICA app to directly tap into the Shinkansen subway lines and skip the queue. Pretty useful if you plan on making intercity trips, if you ask me. Apart from all these enhancements, Japan has also added several new attraction spots that you must add to your trip itinerary. So let's talk about them. By the way, I'm Steve from the Fat Life Project, and I love creating fat travel guides just like the one that you're watching right now. And so if you found value in this video so far and want to support me, the best and free way to do so would simply to click on that subscribe button so that we can go on more fat travel adventures together. Quenchana? With that out of the way, let's get back into it. Speaking of adventures, Universal Studios in Osaka has also recently introduced Donkey Kong, an exciting new expansion on its renowned Super Nintendo world. The Donkey Kong area immerses you in a jungle setting that is reminiscent of the game itself, which is unbelievable if you're someone like myself who grew up playing the game. Speaking of the game, the superstar of the show, so to speak, is the Minecart Madness roller coaster, which replicates the thrilling minecart sequences in the classic game. There is plenty to do apart from the ride, however. Explore interactive zones that will allow you to collect plenty of exclusive merchandises and also meet your favorite characters, of which of course includes Donkey Kong. I honestly had so much fun here and I would highly recommend you check it out. Additionally, in January 2025, Teamlab Planets Tokyo in Toyosu unveiled their largest expansion to date, effectively increasing its exhibition space by 1.5 times, introducing multiple new immersive artworks. Some notable highlights of this expansion include the Athletic Forest, a complex multi-dimensional creative space designed to engage visitors both physically and mentally. This area encourages active exploration, allowing you to immerse yourself in dynamic art installations that respond to movement and interaction. Additionally, you must also check out the very unique Catching and Collecting Extinct Forest, which offers an educational experience where you can capture and study digital representations of extinct animals. You also get a chance to contribute to the art around you at Future Learn Park and convert your art into souvenirs at the Sketch Factory. In fact, I only recently visited Teamlab Planets, and you can get a little preview of it as well, as I did a video about it. I will link that video at the end of this video so that you can check that out next. I will also link my first timer's guide to Tokyo, Japan at the end of this video as well, in case you haven't already watched it. That contains all the lessons I learned prior to my trip and also during my trip. So I definitely recommend watching before you go so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. By the way, if you found value in this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, as it really does help in appeasing those YouTube algorithm gods, but much more importantly, it will just make my day as a content creator. And also, if you got to this point of the video, 50 points to Gryffindor to you, but also thank you so much for your support. I really do genuinely mean it when I say it means absolutely everything. As always, I hope that you have a fantastic day ahead or that you've already had a good day. I will see you very soon in the next video. Ciao!